In this video, I will show you how to replace the copper injector washers that are responsible for the tightness of your injectors. I will show you the easiest way to get to them, what to do if problems arise while removing the injectors, and what you absolutely cannot forget if you want to maintain a perfect seal. Now, let's get to work. I will be working on a BMW E61 with the M57 engine, although it will look exactly the same for the E46, E90, E39, and all other BMWs with the M57 engine. The full list can be found in the description below the video. I'll get straight to the point. No one likes long videos, so I'm skipping the entire beginning where I remove all the cabin filter plastics from the cowl. It's easy, you'll handle it without any problem. After that, I remove the strut brace and set it aside. Do the same with the engine acoustic cover, and that's pretty much the end of the easiest part. Now we move on to the slightly more difficult elements, by which I mean removing the intake manifold, which blocks free access to the injectors. To minimize the risk of damaging the plastic intake manifold, I first slightly loosen the stud nuts hidden deep inside the manifold. You can see them marked on the screen now. In the second step, I do the same with the studs at the end of the intake ports, which I've marked in the photo. Only after loosening all the connections do I unscrew them completely. Next, once the manifold is a bit looser, I unplug two electrical connectors on the right side. The one at the bottom is a bit harder to reach. Then, I unscrew the single oil dipstick bolt located right next to it and pull out the vacuum line hidden all the way at the back of the manifold. All that's left is to unscrew the sealing clamp for the EGR exhaust gas duct right by the throttle body and disconnect the plug for the anti-shutter valve itself. After that, the whole assembly can be removed without much trouble, just making sure that no gasket falls under the engine. This way, we get clear access to the high-pressure fuel lines and the injectors themselves, which we will now disassemble. Next, I disconnect all the injector plugs. In the case of my 3-litre engine, there are 6 of them. Then, I unscrew the 3 screws holding the electrical rail so the whole thing can be moved to the side, as it might get in the way during later stages. After that, I unscrew all the high-pressure lines that connect directly to the injectors. I've marked them on the screen just in case. The ones that wrap downwards and go under the high-pressure rail can stay, as they won't interfere with our work. When removing the fuel lines, set them aside in such a way that you can later reinstall them back in exactly the same spot, as changing their alignment could cause fuel leaks in the future. Right now, the lines are perfectly fitted and tight, and we don't want to change that. Now, for one of the most important steps, I vacuum everything around the injectors. I prefer to get rid of all the debris around them now rather than fishing it out of the cylinders later, because during further work, everything in this area will fall deep into the openings. At this stage, cleanliness is fundamental and a guarantee of avoiding unnecessary problems after putting everything back together. Next, I unscrew all the nuts from the injectors. There will be 12 in total. It is worth getting a long socket, because with a standard one, you might have trouble reaching deep enough. Once everything is clean, I insert a flat screwdriver between the engine and the edge of the injector to check whether they move and how difficult it will be to remove them. Here, I can already see that I've got a tough one. It will take a bit of effort, so I'll use an old proven method that will make this task much easier. I spray the injector seats generously with WD-40 and wait a while to let the product work. Once most of it evaporates, I repeat the process a second time to increase the penetration even more. While we wait for this to work, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me grow this channel. Thank you! I prepared a piece of clean cloth, and now I make a second attempt using a wide, flat screwdriver, gently and without using force, checking whether I can move any of the injectors. I can already see that it's a bit better. Some of the dirt has dissolved. Now, I rotate the injectors left and right with my fingers until I feel some play, and the injector moves freely in the seat. Sometimes it takes a minute, sometimes 3, and in difficult cases it may take 15 minutes, but that is still better than paying several $100s for new injectors if we rush and damage them. If you run into a case where even after trying to loosen them, you still cannot remove them easily, which can happen, for example, if the copper sealing washer in the seat has failed, or if you simply do not have the patience, there are special tools designed for removing seized injectors that can be matched to a specific engine model. In that case, the removal will certainly end in success. Once they're loose, I take them out and place them on a clean cloth or a piece of cardboard I prepared earlier. Well done, really great job. Moving to the other side of the car, I take out Liqui Moly injector cleaner. This time, I soak a cotton cloth with it and carefully clean the injectors from the outside, removing all baked-on dirt and deposits. While this step doesn't affect the fuel mixture delivery, it has a big impact on the sealing of each injector once they are placed back into their seats. Later, I will also pour a whole fresh can into the tank to clean the system from the inside. It is worth doing this every once in a while to maintain proper fuel system hygiene, unless you always fill up with premium fuel. In that case, it is not necessary, as it already contains a sufficient amount of cleaning additives. While cleaning, I also remove the old rubber seals from the injector shafts, which we will replace shortly with new ones. Both gaskets, despite being made of completely different materials, are extremely important for injector tightness. The copper washer must always be new. An old, used washer will never seat properly a second time. Therefore, when removing the injectors, it is worth spending those few dollars and always changing the entire set, because thanks to that, you won't have to take everything apart a second time. I am installing new OE rubber O-rings that will do their job for years. As for the copper washers, I couldn't get the original parts, so I installed replacements after making sure they are made of the correct material and have the proper thickness. Before installation, make sure that your seat is clean, as it might happen that it requires cleaning with a special injector seat cutter. It is not worth skipping this if you see any dirt or carbon buildup at the bottom of the hole. I place the previously cleaned injectors next to their slots and carefully install the injector holders in the correct orientation. They should be facing upward, just like in the picture. Then, I gently slide all the injectors into place, making sure they seat properly into the copper sealing washers we installed earlier. The only thing you really need to watch out for is not hitting the injector tip against the edge of the slot. We definitely don't want any damage or bending, since these are delicate and expensive components. After this step, the whole assembly is already looking neat. I will now give you a few of the most important pieces of information regarding tightening the bolts so as not to ruin the results of our work. First and foremost, everything must be tightened with a torque wrench. Doing it by eye can cause a lot of damage. I tighten the injector studs evenly on both sides with a force of 7 Newton meters. After tightening, all injectors should sit firmly. If any of them move, it most likely means you installed the injector flange upside down. Next, I screw in all the fuel lines in the same order in which they were disassembled to avoid problems with fitting the components. For tightening, I use a force of 30 Newton meters. I connect the electrical plugs and install the intake manifold, clipping in all the wires and plugs, and then I tighten the ones deep inside with a force of 22 Newton meters and the smaller bolts on the edge with a force of 15 Newton meters. After this stage, assembling all the remaining components is just a formality, and you will handle it without any problem, so I will not record it. If you liked this video, check out my best material titled 7 Reasons Why Your Car is Dying. Take care.